Oh, hi. Um, how are you? I don't think you're here accidentally. If you've been in a constant hurry in your life, like me, then I pray that God will speak to you through this, that through my words and through me, and because He doesn't want you to hurry your life away. He wants you to um, pursue Him and love others, and that requires to slowing down so you can live and pursue your goals also in a better way without hurry and without selling your soul. So I want to show you that in this video, and I will also share 3 principles that will help you to slow down because to be honest, they help me, and slow down while you're also achieving your dreams. So yes, and those principles are still helping me, but let's maybe take this to a more private place. So come on. All right. Take a seat, grab something to drink. Maybe you want coffee or tea. Um, I'm drinking water. Drank haven't drank the water in a while, and so here I am. So I used to obsess over my dreams. I longed to achieve them quickly. The desire for success consumed me. I felt stressed, anxious, and overwhelmed. Like success was literally above my wife, having kids, and even God. And so that's something happened like at a peak in last month, and it made me miserable. So I couldn't, focus on my day job. Rushing thoughts and worries kind of plagued my mind, and they were about my business, money, and time freedom in the future. So some days I felt like on top of the world. The most days I felt crushed and anxious. So it was kind of a roller coaster and not a fun one. So, but I tried one thing to fix this, which you might have maybe as well tried that. So to solve it, staying organized was kind of my go-to. So I thought if I could schedule every detail of my life, I wouldn't worry, hurry, and stress out because I know exactly what I would do. I have time for everything, but it didn't work well. Surprise, surprise. And I guess the question is, why? And I thought to myself, why didn't it work? Because, excuse me, because I couldn't easily switch from one thing to another. There was always a residue from a previous task, especially the one that I obsessed over. So for example, have you ever felt like you cannot shake off the thoughts from a task for some time while attempting to do a new task? I mean, that always happens to me, and actually has a name. It's called attention residue. I mean, you can look it up in Google. And so there is a quote from one of my favorite books called Deep Work by Cal Newport. I don't know if you know about it. And there's a quote that I took where I learned about the attention residue. So this is a quote. The problem this research identifies with this work strategy is that when you switch from some task A to another task B, your attention doesn't immediately follow. A residue of your attention remains stuck thinking about the original task. And so that's that's where I learned that, and I feel like that's what has been happening, even though I try to stay organized. And also, scheduling every detail of my life forced me to fill the empty slots with as many activities as possible. I mean, don't mistake, being organized is important, and I still use schedules but productivity only eased my symptoms but didn't cure my ailment. It did not solve the underlying problem of heart and mind. I was living in the future, and I was very impatient. But about a month ago, I realized what I wanted, and I just wanted to slow down. I wanted to breathe without hurry or constraint. I wanted to just take my time and be present in each moment of my life. I I just wanted to love my wife better and care about our future family, having kids and whatnot. I wanted to feel connected to the Lord, being in His love, peace, and stillness, which hurry doesn't allow, because all those things require time, and hurry does not have time. And so I wanted to spend unhurried time with my wife and our future kids. I wanted to get lost in my creative work and be present. I wanted to silence anxious and stressful thoughts in my head. I wanted to stop rushing. And maybe you want these things too, and have been feeling the same. I mean, I didn't figure it all out, but I found certain principles that help me to slow down significantly. And if you're watching and listening to this, then you might be feeling the same way. And there is a better way to live and build a business, and move towards your goals. Ultimately, I mean, by whose standards and timeline you have to get there? I mean, you do it to yourself. And I had to ask myself this hard question too: by whose standards? Like, if you can pressure yourself for no reason, you can also slow down for no reason. Make a decision to change your lifestyle to slow down. If not, you'll hurry your soul away and miss the life God gave you to bear fruit in. So what I want to do, I want to read a verse, John 15:8. Jesus says, "By this my Father is glorified, that you bear much fruit and so prove to be my disciples." So our Heavenly Father is glorified when we bear fruit in our lives, and that's in our marriages, in our family, in our faith, and sharing the gospel, in work and business, like everything. Bearing fruit is not just in one, obsessively only in like career, making money, definitely not. And hurrying can destroy that. So you don't have to believe in God to realize that grinding and worrying about your dreams or your business is harmful for you. I mean, it's greed in us, it's selfishness in us. I want to achieve my goals, my dreams. You can still do that without being so focused on yourself if you take your time. Of course, something must give, but you can save your soul in exchange for longer wait. If you can give a little bit of that patience, but that feeling of, I don't want to achieve it now. I mean, fundamental, why do you even want to build a business and earn more? What's ironic is that usually the goal is to achieve freedom when you want to build a business. I mean, first of all, true freedom is in Jesus Christ, because it comes with a change of one's entire being, and only the Maker can do it. But I mean, even if you don't believe, the more you hurry and obsess over your goal, it actually enslaves you. You work more, you worry more, you want more, you get crushed by mere thought of failing. I mean, I have been there, so kind of saying that from experience. And you're not all of a sudden free when you achieve your dream, or build your business. You start living freely now to shape your dream kind of around that. But I have a solution for you, I think, at least, and I hope this will be helpful, because it was helpful for me. I call it 3S framework. So 3 simple principles to slow down. So there are 3 fundamental principles that help me to slow down. I'm sorry if it's too loud. And it's still helping. So I like thinking about this also in terms of macro and micro levels. Okay, so the first principle would be simplify. And I want to read a verse from Ecclesiastes. So Ecclesiastes 4:6. Better is a handful of quietness than 2 hands full of toil and a striving after wind. And so I feel like this verse describes or sums up this principle perfectly. And I found that simplifying at least helps me to slow down and build a life and business gradually. So I'm gonna give you following tactics that are very easy and actually helpful, like nothing fancy, because simple is always better, I think. So on a macro level, reduce the number of your big goals. So don't have more than 3. Life is short, so you have limited time to pursue a handful of big goals to their full potential. I mean, having a lot of major goals will divide your attention and create more projects and tasks on your plate, and that will lead to hurrying even more. And ask yourselves, why do I need/want to achieve more things in life? I mean, life ends and everything with it. So, I mean, it's a paradox, nothing is important and everything is important at the same time, because everything is temporary and only your relationship with God is eternal. And he also tells us that what we do in this life is important. So see, it's a paradox. But back to number of goals. I've struggled for the longest time to kind of rein my ambition, so I get it. But now I'm focusing only on growing in the Lord, raising a God-honoring family with my wife, and building an online business. So as an example, I have only 3 those big goals. Okay, now simplify your goals. This was also a struggle for me. At first, I thought I wanted to make like $5 to $10 million a year with my business and have like luxurious life for my family and myself. But then I asked myself, why? Then I've realized what I actually truly wanted, and I want is time and money freedom. So I've decided to simplify my goal. 500,000 to $1 million a year, and work for 4 to 6 hours a day was my goal. And if you want to be independent, you don't need crazy goals. So I'll recommend, or I would encourage you to humble your ambitions. I mean, ambitions are good, and I have nothing against them, but at what point do they become too destructive? Okay, now on a micro level, so reduce the number of projects and tasks that you take on. By reducing the number of your big goals, this will also go down as well. And this is crucial, especially if you have other obligations such as full-time job, family, etc. For example, I try to only write content every weekday, just write content as one task. On weekends, I might do 2 to 3 tasks, which are filming, editing, brainstorming. And here's the rule for you. Have also no more than 3 tasks per day, ideally 1 for a given big goal. That way you'll simplify your days and reduce stress. And also, you can watch how I reverse engineer my big goals into a needle moving tasks I need to do consistently. Somewhere here it will pop. You can also read the article as well that I will also leave link in the description below. Okay, so again, on the micro level, we're still simplify your how. I'll just give you my examples. So, for example, instead of growing on multiple social media platforms, I picked one, YouTube. Another example would be, instead of doing a service business, I chose to do a high leverage online business, so I'm simplifying my how. Instead of making complex videos, I tried to make simple videos, which also kind of creates authenticity, I think. Instead of creating new thumbnails every time, I try to stick to a certain style of thumbnails. And so I hope kind of these examples help and it makes sense. In other words, simplify your system. I mean, finally, I got a very good image to demonstrate this entire principle. That might be helpful, the simplify principle. So your life is like a garden, and hurry as the invasive weeds that choke out the fruits of your life. So you need to pull weeds by pausing, pruning your schedules, being patient with the growth, and using simple tools. And so principle number 2, slow down on purpose. And I want to read another verse for you, Ecclesiastes 3:1. For everything there is a season and a time for every matter under heaven. And then he lists all those times to be born, time to die, and etc. And so the idea behind this second principle is this, that extend your time horizon on purpose, on macro again and micro levels. So, if we're thinking in terms of macro levels, expect and aim to achieve your big goals in a longer time horizon. For example, I feel like examples are best. Instead of giving yourself 3 years, give yourself 5 to 7. I would even say do it as long as it takes. I mean, anything is possible with a long enough time horizon. I mean, if you think about it, if you did 1 or 2 things consistently your entire life, it would be unreasonable for you not to, quote unquote, win, be good at it. So reset your expectations. Again, by whose deadlines do you live? It's only you who create them artificially. So when you do this, you will move in a sustainable pace without hurry. And you will breathe again. So write in your notebook or on a sticky note, or just decide and keep reminding yourself that you give yourself more time, because you don't need to achieve everything now. I mean, who do you want to impress? If you're a Christian, the only one you need to impress is God, but He doesn't get impressed by the worldly things. I mean, some will say, well, it's to prove to myself or prove to my future self. But why do you need to prove to yourself anything? I mean, is your self-esteem that low that you don't even believe what you think about yourself? I'll just say, just do it, but just do it, but at your own pace. You don't have to prove anything. Okay, that was macro. Now on the micro level, give yourself more time for the tasks and projects, the little micro. For example, I've decided to spend 2 weeks instead of a week writing a newsletter / YouTube video, because they become the same. With that, I've also given myself permission to make an extra video if I want to or am able to, but it's not a requirement. So I'm taking my time. I used to worry and stress about making a YouTube video every week, but since I extended my micro time horizon, it feels refreshing to make content now. I mean, I don't hurry anymore. If I miss a day because of family or friends gatherings, it doesn't affect my progress as much, and I'm okay. So it's just more sustainable and enjoyable way of living. I mean, to put it differently, progress is like a slow river. It's a calm current that shapes the banks over time. I mean, success is gentle, consistent flow. And this is not an excuse for laziness. I like hard work and think it's important where Christians are called to work diligently like for the Lord and not a man, in Colossians 3:23. And sometimes you will have intensive seasons, embrace them, but don't live in a hurry, because that's just harmful for your health and your soul. Okay, now the last principle, third and the most important, I think, is sit in God's presence and with His Word, aka Bible. And I want to read you one of my favorite verses, Matthew 11:28-30. So Jesus says, "Come to me, all who labor," actually remember this, I memorized this, "Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart, and I will give rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." So I'm going to break the pattern here. This section doesn't have a macro and micro levels. Also a disclaimer, I don't expect you to do it if you're not a follower of Christ, but you can know him definitely, and I promise he will give you rest better than any tactics in the world. So in this verse, my favorite verse, Jesus says, "Come to me." So when I feel exhausted, from doing, chasing wind in this life, feeling anxious about the future and just being consumed by burdens, this verse helps me to slow down. And the key words are at the beginning. He says, "Come to me." So go to him. I used to start my days by working on my business. And those days were mostly, not always, filled with anxiety, overwhelm, and stress. Like I described at the beginning, I couldn't even focus on my day job. And so one day, I was so convicted and challenged by one of my brothers in Christ at the Bible study. It was to take seriously spending a quiet time with the Lord in His Word and in prayer before hustling. So now I start my days with that, no matter how long I have or no matter what I need to do. I'm not perfect and I skip days sometimes, so that's okay. But spending time with God first thing in the morning just changed my days. And I've actually slowed down. I've started feeling peaceful again. It was actually pretty crazy how that worked. And it's not to boast about myself, it's a testament to His power that when I started spending time with Him, it's just blew it away. So here's my challenge for you. Ground yourself in Him first thing in the morning before you work on your business. Start with 15 minutes, then just go up from there. But please do it because it'll definitely change your life. So this practice or principles slows my heart, my mind, my soul down, and I get reminded that there is no need to hurry in this life. So yeah, those were 3 principles. Simplify. Principle number 2, slow down on purpose, and then sit in God's presence and His Word. All right. Sorry, I had a little snack break and my camera was kind of dying. So, if nothing else, I want you to take this kind of way. This is the important point that I had to learn to. In order to truly slow down, you should believe that wanting less and moving slowly is a better way to live. And there should be like a mental or heart switch. They say that all the sacrifices, your family, faith, health are worth it, but they're not. I mean, you can achieve your goals without hurry if you take a little longer. I mean, you'll be all right if you take a little longer. Okay, so that's kind of my thoughts on these and my 3 principles. So now that you know the importance of slowing down your life and have some principles to implement, there's a perfect business model, in my opinion, that will be the best for a slow lifestyle where you can make a living and have time freedom. So check this video out. It will be somewhere here where I talk about that business model, and you can also read it on my newsletter. Well, that's it for the video. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you haven't yet, and hit that bell so you don't miss my videos. Check out the links in the descriptions, and I will catch you later. So, bye.